لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله ما لنا رب سواه.
My name is Ammar Ahmed. I'm an emergency medicine physician. I went to medical school at Rosalind Franklin and CMS in Chicago. Anybody from here from Rosalind? There you go. All right, so there should be more numbers than that. You got a huge class, but we'll get there. Next year, inshallah. All right, so I went to University of Illinois for my training, then I left, and I'm an ER physician now practicing in Rockford, Illinois, which is a town west of Chicago. It's about an hour west, and I'm on faculty there at the UIC College of Medicine at Rockford. Is anyone here from Rockford? Campus at Rockford? No? Who's here from UIC Chicago? Okay. You got Rockford. You're to Rockford? Okay, there you go. All right, so I'm there. We'll meet up afterwards. All right, so essentially I represent an organization called ACC. It's investing in the Muslim community through interest-free loans for higher education. And I think this is a cause that I was obviously aware of when I was getting my federal loans, and everyone in this room is aware of because you're all in the same boat. So this talk is, there's no financial compensation for me. I am a volunteer for ACC. I love their mission. I love what they do. And I was, the story is that before, so Arthur Hawk is a hospitalist in UTSW in Dallas. He's the one that started this organization. So before he started, or when he started the organization, he's like a couple years older than I am. I wanted to start this exact same organization because I believe in the cause so much. And then instead, when I realized this existed, I went ahead and joined forces with him. And instead of reinventing the wheel of what's going on, we wanted to go ahead and do this. So no paid something from AMMSA to me. I'm not, we're actually paying them a little bit to get the speaking time, but it worked out pretty well. So this is the kind of a superfluous side. It just means we're all broke, or you're all broke. That's all it means, right? Every medical student in debt, 200K plus. I don't need to go through the numbers. It is what it is. So why ACC? What does that mean? A continuous charity, right? So everything like Brother Abdullah Sayed mentioned, it's based on faith, right? You're here for Muslim Medical Student Association. This name comes from a hadith that was narrated by Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He said, when a man dies, all of his deeds are come to an end, except for three, right? A continuous charity, beneficial knowledge, and a righteous child who will pray for him. So that's where a continuous charity comes from. The point is to give sadaqah jariyah, for this to go on in perpetuity. So till after we pass away, everything else after that. So our mission, we promote the religious and intellectual development of Muslims in America by providing interest-free loans for higher education, college, grad school. That's what we're looking for. Everyone in this room is our target audience. So just at the bottom right, Imam Salman, he's like, our famous scholar that everyone, he's actually, we're located in Irving, Texas. I'm in Chicago, we're outside of Chicago. They're in Irving, and he's one of our scholars that actually really, really supports us for what we do. He's actually on our board, and so if we have a question or we need him for speaking time or whatever it is, he comes and supports us for our cause. So why does ACC exist? So number one is to protect the students' religious beliefs. Like I said, everyone in this room has a different perception of interest in what they believe, how it is in America, but you cannot deny the one fact that it is specifically said in the Quran that what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about interest. He says, "Oh, you who believe, do not consume interest, doubled and multiplied, but fear Allah that you may be successful." Right? That is in the Quran. Everyone in this book that is in this room is, a Muslim and they believes in the Quran. So you have to believe in that tenet and that faith. So that is the number one. Number two, we raise the ranks of Muslims in society. We came here, majority, if not all of us here are our parents were immigrants to some capacity, right? And they came here so we could have a better life. And they only came here we could have a better life, not only because to become financially successful, but also hold dear to our faith, that this is what we believe in, and how do we, live within the confines of our religion and also become successful in this modern day society. So third, helping students pursue their dreams, right? Essentially, when you go to medical school and you graduate and you become a successful physician and whatever you do, we want to be a part of that. We want to be a part of an organization, of you guys who are going to school debt-free. And then obviously the last one is just to throw filler in there. We want to solve the debt crisis. So how do we operate? So it's pretty simple. So ACC is an organization that is a 501c3 organization. It is non-for-profit, like a legitimate non-for-profit. I'm not here for any financial incentive on my own. It's just my time. We have 7 people on staff in Irving and across the country. We have a finance department, operations, marketing, law, and everyone it's legally bound. And I'll explain how that works. So what ends up happening is the community, you ask, how do we get all this money, right? So we get the money from community all over the country and sometimes even the world. So people will donate to our cause, and we say that this is for Sadaqah Jariyah, right? This is for a cause that you are giving to give a student an interest-free loan. People will donate. We'll get funds from donors, grants sometimes, even though that's not majority of what we do, and some scholarships. But that's 99% of our funding is from donors, such as yourselves. 10 years down the line, when you become successful physicians, I'm going to come knocking on your door and say, hey, time to pay up. Right. So essentially that's what it is, right? So if you run the numbers in America, we only need $10 million to sponsor every kid, every one of you to go to medical school with 0 interest. That is nothing, right? Your anticipated income for every individual, every person in this room will be a millionaire. Every single person, right? Inshallah, right? So that is something that is, that's where you're headed. If you're smart, you go by your rules and do your things, and that will, next time I'm gonna do an ACC talk on that. But essentially that's where we're at. So what we do is we get the money to ACC, then we give it to you guys, right? So we give it 2 different ways. We either refinance your loan that you have that's interest bearing, or we give it to your university. So majority of our funds are going to like universities. So your medical school, we write a check, it goes to whatever school you're at, and then that pays for the tuition or whatever cost there is. The money will never go to you directly. It will go to the institution, because that's how we keep everything legally bound and clear. And then when you return the money back to ACC, that money is then given to somebody else. So hence the cycle of a continuous charity. It's a perpetual cycle. So we have 10 chapters. This is kind of an older map across the United States. Illinois is one, Wisconsin is a newer one, and then Texas is one. I don't know why that's settled in, but there's 10 chapters across. So the way it works is that ACC National is the overbearing or overarching organization. We have individual chapters that, suppose you live in Illinois or Wisconsin or Michigan, you apply to get a loan. And that application will then first go to the ACC local chapter, and it also subsequently go to the national chapter. So now let's say the ACC local chapter doesn't have enough money to fund you guys, right? So they'll come to ACC National and say, okay, we need this much amount of money, and that's what we'll give. And every loan is legally bound in the sense that when you submit an application, it comes to us. There's 4 different people, including lawyers and accountants and everyone that looks at it on the back end. And then we will, when we approve your loan, we'll sign off after like an interview process. It's a 1 interview process, and that's the way it works. So how do we select you guys, right? Now, everyone in this room is type A to some degree. You have to be. So essentially, right, we go by 5 criteria, right? One is location, like I mentioned. So location is if you're in, let's say, Illinois, and you apply to the chapter and you want to get a loan, we'll look at that. Now, let's suppose you live in Montana or Wyoming and we don't have a chapter there. Doesn't matter. You just still apply to the national side, and we'll get your application. We'll still consider you. Second is merit. So how good is your GPA? Or how good did you honor clerkships? Or did you go ahead and, what was your step 1 score? What was your step 2 score? Things like that. We go off of the whole holistic picture of the individual. Third is need. That doesn't count for you guys because everyone's needy. So essentially, right, that's something but the reason we put that up there is because, when it's marketed to everyone, and I'll explain this a little bit later on, we have refugees, we have individuals that are from every facet or background you can think of. I mean, honestly, these applications are gut-wrenching applications, and it's so hard when I have to sit there and pick between this candidate or this candidate because they're both deserving, but I don't have the money to do all of it, right? That's the hard part. Community involvement. What are you involved in the community in terms of your local community, your medical community, your religious community? And that goes to the last one, Islamic scholarship. That is a very kind of a broad term. Everyone's Islamic or everyone's religious affiliation is different. You all understand that. So all we are looking for is how are you looking to better yourself, right, in any capacity. Whether you watch a lecture on Yaqeen Institute, whether you go to your local mosque, whether you memorize some part of the Quran, whether you're involved in a food pantry, it doesn't really matter, right? We want every background, every facet, so that's what we're looking for. So a little testimonials, and I'll just kind of blow to the side. These are 3 of the applicants that we had last year. We had a 40-year-old dental applicant who was a refugee from Syria. She came over and she worked like 5 years. She was a dentist over there, and wanted to get into dental school over here. And if you know anything about the dental program, you have to do like D3 and D4 year again, and then you apply if you want to go to residency or not. But she, after 6 attempts at getting into dental school, she finally got in. 40-year-old, single individual, I think widowed, and then she had literally no money to pay for her stuff, and we gave her a scholarship, and this is like that one application. We have another guy in Chicago who is a really kind of future star for ACC. He's a DACA recipient. He's a revert that is in law school now, and he can't get federal loans because he's DACA. And this is the only way he can get loans, so we are funding his entire education, all $120K of his law school loans. And then the last one is the medical student, such as yourself in Chicago. So we have a 100% repayment rate. What does that mean? So you people think, oh, we're giving money to somebody and we're not going to take it back. No, we're going to get it back. So you're signing legally binding contracts, right, with the cosigner. So your parent or your uncle or somebody else, right? Their social security number is just as on the line, just as much as your social security number is. Granted, we don't take action until we really, really necessarily need to do it. We've never had to do it in the history of the decade of ACC. At the bottom left, you can see the contract allows us to garner wages, withhold from tax refunds, report to the credit bureau, yada, yada, yada. And we've never had to do that, but it exists because we have to have trust in this society that, everything is legally bound. And we're giving you money, so we want you to honor it, to give us money, to bring back to the next cause. Otherwise, our lawyers will come after you. So 2021 national, what we did 1.5 million last year to 88 students. $500,000 were paid back to us by students alone last year. And a third of that money was from students that are recycled. So like people that have already got money, they were funded back to us and we gave it to the next person. Our success, I love this slide because it goes to show, inshallah in 10 years or 8 years what we've accomplished, and inshallah what we have to accomplish, right? So the top line in blue is 2021 stats, right? What we did last year, 90 loans, 1.5 mil, 500,000 returned. Now the bottom slide, can you read that or no? Can you guys read that bottom number, the lifetime number? So 340 loans overall, lifetime, $5 million lifetime, starting from 2015. And then we did approximately, we've gotten $1 million back, or more than $1 million, actually it's like 1.8. And then we saved, if you look at the average number, 6.5% interest, it's like, $2.7 million of interest saved for the students that we've supported. So it's not a small amount. Alhamdulillah, it's a very good number. And we are growing year by year by year. So this just goes to the national statistic from last year. We did 90 loans. What applies to you guys, degree tripes of what we did. It's kind of small print, but we did, so if you look at the doctorate category, 29 doctorates, we did 23 medical students, and we did 6 lawyers, is what we did. So that's just the doctorate level, and then we did bachelor's, master's, and certificate levels. So this is why I'm here. This is why I love this cause. I found AMMSA through Insta, actually. I was browsing one night, and I see this thing pop up, like American Medical Student Association. And I'm like, this is crazy. I love this cause, right? Like I'm part of that. This is amazing. I wish I had this when I was in medical school, years ago. So I DM'd Zach, and I said, hey, whatchamacallit, I want to be a part of this. This is what I'm part of. Let's get on a phone call. We played phone tag for like 2 months. And then we eventually got to talking, and he's like, absolutely. He knew the cause, and it was like, yeah, let's do it. So I brought this idea to national. I'm not the founder in any way. I'm really involved in national ACC, but there's a whole board that we have to go through. So I said, we have to support these guys. No way we are not doing this. So what we decided to do is create a fund for AMMSA, right? So specifically for you guys, and what you're part of this conference, you attended, all I will need from you guys is a badge that says that you were here, and we'll verify with the organizers that you were here and you picked up. And then you apply. You apply for this AMMSA fund with ACC, and you'll apply, our deadline, it's flexible because it's the first year, but we want to get everything done by September 30th. And then essentially what we will do, we'll give you 20 grand, right? 20,000 for your loan. A refinance or a straight up tuition to your school. We are targeting this more towards M3s and M4s. Just out of curiosity, how many M1s and M2s are here? Okay. How many M3s and M4s? Okay, about half. Residents? Okay. Attendings? There you go. What specialty are you?
I think they all need an eye doctor.
Okay, awesome. Ophthalmology, there you go.
No, but you're doing an amazing job. I'm really impressed.
Okay, well, thank you. So essentially, that's what we're gonna do, right? 20,000 per year. That's our cap for this year. Now, the reason I say that is it really depends on how many people apply, right? Let's say only one of you applies, right? We'll give you the 20,000, right? If 2 of you apply, 10,000, 3 of you, or we'll divide it up. And then that's just for this cycle, just for this year, right? You can use, the goal is to use that same application for future years. So whenever we sponsor a medical student or a law student, we don't say, hey, you know what, we only sponsored you for L1 or D1 or M1, okay, buzz off. We don't want to do that. We want to support you throughout your education, right? So if you look at the students that we've supported, I think since 2014, we have approximately 50 to 60 medical students, right? And if you look at the amount of loans we give to each medical student per year, it's a minimum of 20K, right? To a maximum of 40K. So essentially, some students have gotten $150,000 for their medical education from ACC, right? And as low as like about 60K, because 80K, sorry, 20 over the 4 years of your medical school. So yes, it's not the whole amount, that you guys have, 200K or 300K or whatever else it is, but it is a significant portion. If you do the math on, I don't know if you've ever done this. I did it because I had federal loans and I never took out. ACC did not exist when I went to school, or it did. It was in an infancy. $250,000 in loans. Now, if you do the math on that, you know how much money you're getting in interest at 6.5% at $250,000 per day? Does anyone know? It's $30. $30 a day on $250,000 is what you're doing. So over the year, just add it up, like whatever else it is. So it adds up to a lot of money. So that's what we're looking for. So we want you guys to apply to us. And I'll be at the booth later on, 1 through 4, when your research fair is going on. Just stop by for a couple minutes. We'll give you all the info. And then we'll have a small interview process where we'll have one interview with me and somebody else. And then essentially we'll go ahead. And we might even change our criteria for you guys because it's the first year. Everyone in this room is capable and qualified. So we have no doubt about that. It's just a matter of how many people apply. Am I running short on time or are we good? A little bit? Okay, give me 2 minutes and we're done. So the second thing is the regular cycle. That's what I want to mention on. Suppose you don't get this, right, this year with us, right? Our regular cycle is in April 2023. That's when we start. So if you apply through the AMMSA project, right, we'll get you your funds December, maximum January. The check will be written to wherever you want. If you get, go through a regular cycle, and that pool is open to everyone, meaning you can ask for $150,000 in an application. You probably won't get it. The maximum you'll get is 40K per year, right? But that's what I'm telling you. So you apply in April, and then we'll go through the process, right, for everyone. You'll get your loan or your amount in July of this year, and or of next year, sorry. So really great cause. I want you guys to support. Ways you can help us is spread the word. Some people knew about ACC, some people didn't know about ACC. Tell students about us. Support us with your donations 20 years on the line, but or whenever you want, inshallah. And then start a chapter. If you're in a state that doesn't have a chapter, start a chapter. We'll get involved. And that is it.
إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله ما لنا